be that person, because Doom, you'd think it'd be the clown, but my goodness, he was delayed so much, frozen out of his lane.
Honestly, I think this is a prisoner's dilemma already. It's like asking a mother who's their favorite child. You gotta pick one, unfortunately. Right now, it's not Doom. That's what I could say. Oh no.
Oh, Kashi. Where's the Keyboy under the turret? There's the kick right in between both. They don't care. They'll get a kill. There's the stunt, Lootby. Kyrie with a retribution, gonna chase down Shin. Able to get away though, but that's just a preview of how much Onyx can take from Entity 7 as the turret is pushed now in the bottom lane. Tier 2, Doom, nowhere to go, popping the Purify. Has to stay alive at all costs, but Kyrie's here. All the iframes to work with, and a torn apart memory from Kelra will cap out another kill.
It can stop. This is a public execution here from Onyx. They are not letting up, and they want to make sure that it is known you can't play anything less than perfect.
Couple shots here. All right, flicker burn at least for Sans, but still so much work for Entity 7 to deal with that they just have to watch the tier 2 turret go down nearly here in that bottom lane. It's just Onyx doesn't have anything else to take, so they'll just keep pressing on these turrets.
You know, I've watched a lot of games in my career, but never one where I've been so confident that this game is kind of over already.
Yeah.
It's an 8.4K lead 6 minutes into the game, and these positions are literally impossible to get out of unless Onyx all decide to like run at Fountain or something like that. But it's very unlikely. Once you're at a stage where you're already an item and in a component ahead of your opponent, it becomes very difficult to actually claw your way back out of this, especially since a lot of the combinations are very single target rather than hitting multiple people. Yeah. And that's the big difference between E7 and Team Liquid's composition. Even though Team Liquid was losing massively at that point in time, the comeback with ability comes down to the 5 wombo combo, which they don't have.
Yeah, and what you're seeing here too, you know, there's a phrase over in the Philippines that's used quite a bit. It's called Hunger Games. You hear the professional players say it, where they take everything from the jungle, pretty much. Akashi, they'll take him as well. They're going to be looking for Doom next. Doom will be able to get away with the BMI, but now Bagwin trying to run himself away, but it's just way too much. As another goes down for E7, and Onyx will shortly be knocking on these holy defense shields already this early on.
Yeah, look, they just sit in base. Yep, he's already holding on. DHS, all right, that's fine. Max stacks on Uranus. He's gonna regenerate harder than everybody put together.
Yeah, this is just, at that point, Lootby just pressing on the wounds for this one.
He's gonna walk into target just to restart the stacks. Yep,
restart the stacks. Another wave coming through mid. Tier 1 gone, Tier 2 next. They still hold on to the shields, but Entity 7, again, look at this, the glooms. A couple glooms bringing Doom down to a third of his health.
Dude, Lootby, I hate, especially when you're playing Uranus at a high level.
Just look at him.
And you have such a lead, he just becomes like the solar system's behind here. Just a dirty little man. Look at him. What are you gonna do? Huh? He still has his ult. And then he punts on up and he does nothing. He's just literally face-checking them.
This is only possible when you're 13,000 gold ahead as a team. Bagwin desperately jumping in with the Avatar of the Guardian, but he's just gonna go to his death. Loopy's still in the base. He hasn't moved at all. A flicker forward from Sans, trying to get the kill. Another defense shield popped, but look, Loopy still not moving from this. He's his own just bulwark for this team. He does. They're done with the disrespect.
They're hoping that Onyx isn't trying to farm the... Oh, Gravity Reaper going on right on Bush. Kind of interesting what he's going for here. Wants to make sure that he has a little bit of true damage on top of everything else, but I think right now he kind of needs some sustain. Not to mention that Kelra has been playing literally pixel perfect as well, making sure that he isn't missing a beat. Catching up and cleaning out the majority of these kills, but now that we're coming into the 9th minute of the game, Onyx, this is it, right? No holy shielding on every single side of Entity 7's base. They're going to be able to get this... Zipper, could you pull up the items just in case? I don't want to be wrong about this, but I think that Doom should be like an item and a half. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it hurts.
Uh-oh, it's going to hurt more here. Sans does take some damage. He's got the black shoes. He's going to be fine. A little jump there on the fence. They're going to get run down in their jungle, so ignoring the Lord for now. They'll just take a buff, make their way back to it. But what do they get out of that? Again, Some of these ultimates used up, battle spells. E7 still wants to show up for this. Potentially, they might just get punished here, though, if they do.
Everything that could have gone wrong in the early game has gone wrong for Entity 7, and I think that as much as it feels soul-crushing for Haidon Bush, it's one of those games that you wish, like, all right, it's a GG, go next. I understand that we're going to have to play through the lower side, but this is really, really rough. And I think the only few mistakes that Onyx can make, it's difficult for Kyrie because at this stage, he's got enough cooldowns to get his iframes back up before the killing blow actually comes through. I think it's got to be down to like just Sans and Kelra who need to give away these kills, particularly Kelra.
And I don't know if that's going to happen, man.
He usually doesn't do that.
It's usually not the case, but even if it was the case, Entity 7 just doesn't have the firepower. I feel like they almost have to expend too much for them to cap out a kill on an overstep that most likely won't happen from Kelra. Now for Onyx, with gold too, is even bigger than the Lord right now. Ludwig up again, leading the charge. There you go again. Just Shin deleted off the map here. 2 base turrets down. Onyx looking to cap it out here under the 12-minute mark once again. One more desperate attempt here from E7, but they'll just lock it down and come in cleaning as Onyx comes in to clean up the series in a sweep against Entity 7.
An absolute massacre, a murder.
Kelra now for Onyx with this.
Onyx, they're not holding back their punches anymore. They've taken advantage of every little thing in this game, and those who gave away those kills were purely for donation purposes.
Yeah.
Holy cow. This is going to be an exciting MSC. You know, we've seen many upsets. We've seen those who are looking for former glory. They don't want to make the same mistakes past 2-3 years ago, even if we dig far enough. All of these players, they're looking for revenge. They're looking for the top spot.
This was, again, interesting to go through the way that it did through the drafts, for the picks. But this is also the Onyx that I feel like a lot of people have seen shades of throughout their course of their journey up here to MSC in 2026 for EWC. But again, it's a refined version of them. You know, and I think a big part of that is they're playing into where the meta is currently. They're really honing in on that. But even the way they move around the map, Gideon, it just looks like they're cleaner than what we've seen previously.
Yeah, no, they had tempo at every single moment in this game. They made sure that they checked the foundational bookmarks, and most importantly, they went above and beyond and reached further, right? Keyboy was allowed to do Keyboy things, which he hasn't been able to do as often in the recent years, but now it feels like he's back to his normal self. Yes, I will disrespect you, I will get everything out of you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, him and Loopy both, man, just having the time of their lives there. Again, think about that, how good of a start that is. A 3-0 start for Keyboy on the Cho. Just dominant, you know, able to go ahead and just do whatever he wants basically in the opposing jungle of E7 here. And that also just, again, when we talked about the discussion about the Hirara and how you have the most success with that hero, your team has to support that to happen, and they did it from the start.
Yep. And from the start to the end, we're going to be now thrown over to our winners up on stage with Rose for the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. And oh my. Onyx with such a dominant sweep up against Entity 7. A 2-0 game. And of course, we are on stage with someone who I last saw last year under the banner of Onyx Philippines. But this time, he returns to the MSC stage as Onyx. How are you, Kelra?
I'm okay, I'm fine. Gwenchana.
Did you miss playing in MSC?
Yes, very, very much. I miss to play to MSC.
I have to ask you, what's the difference with playing with Onyx Philippines last year and playing with Onyx this year? Okay, go!
Ang pinagagawa nila, naglalaro akong kampi kay mga Indonesia ngayon at saka yung comms namin, iba.
He said playing with Indonesians, they have different comms compared to, I'm pretty sure, Onyx PH last year, where they would primarily communicate in Tagalog. Now, I have to ask you, today was a day filled with surprises and upsets. We saw incredibly fast games. We saw Rafael in the mid lane. I gotta ask you, what do you think about the meta right now?
Yung meta ngayon, ano talaga eh, depende sa team kung may sarili-sariling meta yung mga teams ngayon and wala talagang sinusunod na meta. Yung ngayon, kumbaga
no specific meta. It's more towards playing towards your strength and just capitalizing on what plays out. You seem very happy to have a translator on stage, huh? Yeah. So, Kelra, aside from the meta, I want to ask you, your next opponent is going to be Aurora, who just 2-0 clean sweep TL just now. And if we look back to last year, when you met them on your opening match in Onyx Philippines, you guys lost against Rosa Selena. So what are the preparations for that matchup up against Aurora?
Preparation lang namin, siguro masayusin namin yung mabumben namin and babawi ako sa Aurora kasi tinalo nila kami last EWC.
He said that what he's going to be working on is obviously their map rotations, and he is going to get a revenge match up against Aurora for beating him last EWC. Any words to the fans here in the arena today?
Maraming salamat sa mga puntang Pinoy dito. Patuloy na sinusuportahan pa rin kami and sa lahat ng mga pumunta yung nag-report and maraming salamat sa pagsuporta.
Kelra said thank you to all the Filipinos who came down to the arena and to give them their support. Continue supporting them. And you know what? I'm pretty sure he hopes to see you guys again. Thank you very much, Kelra. It's amazing to be back on stage with you.
Yes!
Yes! Thank you! All right, that's it from us. We're showing it back to the studio to break down what happened in this series. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rose. That was amazing. I mean, what a personality, Kelra. And you can hear the screams. A lot of happy fans for whatever Kelra had to say. The Onyx crowd is going live here in Paris, France at EWC 26. And MSC has really started off strong, guys. We saw 2 upsets. Mirko and Rinmar joining me back on the desk. We saw 2 upsets to start off these series. Now this one, it wasn't an upset, but it was the fastest series overall. 2 sub-12-minute wins. Onyx, we said they were on, we talk about Golden Road. They're on the road for a championship, and it looks like they started off strong.
Oh yeah, dude. They just dominated every single aspect of the game, having winning matchups in all of those individual lanes and just capitalizing on every single one of them. Again, they set it up in the first phase. It wasn't even like, it doesn't even look like they're trying to hide it, but I guess it's like, it could be an experience.
Bro, I got so too. I feel like we needed to see a result like this after the very shocking day, start of the day that we had. But of course, unfortunately, that it was at the expense of Entity 7, where I'm sure they're very hungry to, have a much better start here and get some better results.
Yeah.
I guess it's just unfortunate that they went up against a team that's like one of the most aggressive in the world.
Yeah.
And it really felt like they tried to play a similar style, too similar to Onyx, and yeah, they just got beat there.
Maybe needed to, we talked about this yesterday, fire with fire. Maybe needed to slow it down. So hard to do, though, against the caliber of these types of players.
Yeah.
Talking about MVPs and Kelra. And obviously, things worked out well for them. But, Mirko, if you broke it down, they were fast games. What was the key to success for Onyx in this matchup?
I think it's just having winning lanes across the board and having the assassins, having someone like Kyrie to force out those bans, force out those I'd say strange picks as well coming in from Entity 7, right? Like all the way from game number 1, it was a Fanny and Ling ban into no Hirara for Entity 7. And in game number 2, they gave the Hirara over again without a Ling response. I feel like right now, teams who don't have the Fanny, don't have the Ling in their arsenal are really going to be at a disadvantage. We see it back-to-back games now.
Yeah.
For Entity 7, they just didn't even have, I'd say, like the plan. Again, it's the same as what we said for game number 1. It looked like they were coming into this matchup thinking, all right, how do we not lose instead of how do we win?
Yeah. And Rinmar, you said it was kind of a meta's past. A few months ago, you saw that first draft from Entity.
Yeah, even their decision here, the fact that they went with the Gata Kacha and then the Harley as one of their next 2 picks after picking up the Eudora. They picked up the Eudora, they knew the Hirara was coming out. Oni picked up the Cho, then suddenly, I feel like they're scared to now pick up or even consider the Ling. They ended up doubling down on a Harley. Harley, not a terrible pick, but I feel like they just weren't able to play it with the way that they wanted to, and then at the end of
midnight,
the effect of the previous series bleeding on over to this one.
Yeah.
Also, he picked up a Claude. Brody was wide open. Mirko called it. We realized, like, yeah, it's such a good pickup for Onyx. I don't think it even crossed their minds that the Brody would pop up. And you saw how difficult it was for Doom to even farm in lane. He was straight up frozen out the entire game.
The gold standard So many Onyx fans happy with that one, and they get to go home early or relax at the venue. There's a lot going on here at EWC 26 here at the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet, though. The action is all MSC, and we're finding a way, I think, to break down what we've seen, because we're trying to learn something. And I think on the outside looking in, you can only glean so much. But now, I know, Renmar, you've got a couple of clips for us that you want to break down that maybe give us a bit more insight as to why things worked out so well for Onyx.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at the draft here real quick again, just so that we can revisit. You want me to keep going forward? Just so that we can revisit what happened. Yeah, we pointed it out. They picked up the Eudoras first. They gave up the Cho and the Hirara. But then these two, this screams Meta's past. If they wanted something a little bit more proactive, if they knew that they had the Burst with them and that they're going up against Burst, it wouldn't be too crazy to consider picking this up. But then they were thinking, okay, but there's an Esmeralda. Then why don't you pick up the Esmeralda if you're worried that you wouldn't have an answer to the Uranus? And then with the Brody open up here, you knew it was coming. We knew it was coming out. Miracle called it. They still ended up picking up the Cloud, and then that just ended up being really difficult for them. I feel like they also leaned in a little bit too hard with taking away some of the best picks that you can go for here. For Suns, they took out the Eve, they took out the Juicin, but the Lilia was still wide open, and that was one of the safest picks that you could go for. So yeah, draft choices, a lot of questions, and I will double down on what Mirko has been saying. What we've been saying, they were playing and drafting not to lose. Yeah.
I think for me, it's also just like, if you look at the drafts again now, they didn't really have a plan after banning the Eve, because if they wanted to pick up the Claude, if they knew they were going to pick up the Claude,
right,
why even ban the Eve, right? Like, look at that again. They banned out the Juicin and the Eve. They should have banned out the Juicin and the Lilia if the Claude was actually what they were already aiming for all the way from first phase.
Yeah, all right. So now let's look up how this game started out here. For Entity 7. There we go. So it was just really a tale of this start here. They found them over here, and then they continued. With Shin going down,
dude,
great use of the flicker. Keyboy was aggressive, just the right amount. Vagi knew that he wouldn't have any help here, and this onslaught would continue. Hyden Bush wants to go orange, but then at this point you're thinking, how is a Gatakacha who's about to fall down with a Eudora just coming back supposed to protect with this Cho? Not much. It will just trigger a lot of usages from the abilities. Easy burst. Onyx made that start look so easy. It was simple, really. Once they saw where the Roman mid were, once they got a read of where the jungler was, pretty much there was nothing that they could do, and that was it. It was over from the first minute and a half of the game, because that snowballed into just more aggressive plays by Onyx that Entity 7 had no response for. They couldn't even help their gold laner anymore because of how badly they lost the first minute and a half.
Yeah, Onyx going to be facing up against Aurora Gaming tomorrow. Also, that means that we're going to see Team Liquid face off against Entity 7. Will it be just as fast? That one's going to be an elimination match as well, so stay tuned for that. We'll get all the details for the bracket. We've still got one more series to go, though, and before we jump into there, let's head over to Chris and Glitter Explosion for a Club Championship update here at EWC.
Another Club Championship update heading your way. I'm here with Lauren once again. Your stage is very much rumbling away like ours has been as well, but big Club Championship update from you.
Yeah, we have a lot going on. So today we're sending 8 teams home. 8 keys will be crushed as we head into finals. However, our finals could not be any more stacked with the current clubs at the top of our Club Championship leaderboard, okay? We have the defending champs, Twisted Minds, but then we also have Vitality, Na'Vi, AGAL. We have Falcons just solidifying their spot. Yeah, this is going to be a pivotal game for the Club Championship side of things.
Wow, I mean, which way are you kind of leaning with it? Because I know it's very, very close with that one, but has anybody been standing out? We actually have a couple teams that aren't in CC standing out right now. We had Myth doing really, really well, but we do have Liquid in there starting to pop off. We see AGL has had some strong performance after a slower start, and honestly, defending champs Twisted Minds also look really good. This could really go any way. Excellent. I'm really looking forward. I'm going to be keeping up with everything going on over on Lauren's stage. But there's your little Club Championship update. We'll be keeping up for the rest of the weekend.
my game.
He knows nothing. Let's go!
Tyler 1, you're done.
Raw energy. House for bar for blow the house down.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
The Esports Nation Cup in Riyadh in November. You're going to be able to see 16 games go toe-to-toe for 4 weeks, representing their nations for the first chance to win a title for their club, their nation, and make history. Make sure you are watching the prizing, and not only that, just the glory is going to be on the line in November. It's going to be a lot of fun. Esports Nations Cup coming up. I can't wait for that. Welcome back to the Desco. We've got one more series to go. My name's Rainy. I'm joined by Mirko and Rinmar here to talk about Myanmar. Yangon Galacticos finally jumping in the conversation. They had to wait all day, see all these wacky results.
Oh, yeah.
And now we finally get to see them heading up against Armena Giants and GK Esports. Mirko, what's your thoughts heading into this one?
Hey, Yangon Galacticos have always been a team on my radar, right? Got the honor to actually cast a lot of their games, a lot of their tournaments in the past, their qualifiers to international events, and they've always shown glimpses of brilliance here and there. They show tremendous domination, I mean, in their domestic leagues, but then when it comes to internationals, maybe it's because of the lack of the experience for some of their members, but they just don't shine as much as they shine in their domestic league, especially at M7. Very disappointing result. Coming into MSC, though, again, they had a dominant run, but it was with the utility jungle. Han was fantastic on those picks. Now that we're back on Assassins, there's still going to be a big question mark, because a big part of why they were able to dominate was because of their crazy hero pull on Blink as well. Him pulling off the Assassins in Rome is now no longer possible with the Assassins back in the jungle.
There's going to be a lot of demands here for Yangon Galacticos to really grow, and we've seen it from even the top teams growing mid-tournament. Now, at least they're operating from the sense of we've had an entire what's new. I wouldn't take it out of the possibility that they're just gonna improvise at the last second and start introducing these new picks. I'm still looking out for Barrett's becoming a big part of the conversation. Meanwhile, for GK, I have the same fear for them. Yes, they had an amazing story in their win in MENA. The fact that they have 2 Mongolian imports, they were able to get a big win in the grand finals against a big organization in Falcons MENA. But then now here they are with not a lot of international experience. How are they going to be able to translate what they did domestically, internationally?
And there's a lot of final days and final games that you can go, okay, great, our turn. This feels like one where you're almost like, do we have to play today? Can we just see one more team go? Is it really that crazy? Are all the upsets happening in Yangon Galacticos as we introduce their team up here on your screen? They are a squad from Myanmar. Through the MSL, they want to be here, top 8 at M7. Can they continue that? Their journey to EWC, not like everybody else's, but like everybody else, they are here to win.
Yangon Galacticos, look at
we start Young Galacticos on MSL Season 1. After we lose in M7, all of us, including the player and the coaching staff, decided to do better. I think we can win this one because of the mindset we adjust and the maturity of all the members of Young Galacticos. They are expecting to be a champion. If we achieve top 4, it's mean a lot in terms of the pride of Myanmar, because back then on M2, Myanmar is one of the top teams.
As now, Bournemouth scores! Have they done it?
They have done the unthinkable, and now they make history. The first Myanmar team to make it towards the grand finals of the M2 World Championship.
Bringing the Myanmar back on the top 4, it's mean a lot to the people. As a foreigner, makes me decide to stay on Young Galacticos is because of the dreams of the players. After losing on M7, I think I am accountable for their dreams. I really want to show them that esport can change life.
Rinmar, there's a lot to say about this team.
Yeah, they're pretty strong.
You almost couldn't hold yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't hold myself. I was excited. I want to talk about Young Galacticos. I mean, yeah, with Stitch and Lina no longer being there, still Sanjay and Kai's, I feel like they stepped up to the plate really well for Young Galacticos. It's when we were talking about the worry for them, I'm worried for them. Like, how are they going to be able to translate what they did domestically here? But at the same time, it's excited when you get young players finally being able to step up internationally for the first time, or at least, you know, growing that experience. They're so hungry to prove themselves that they can show off some amazing highlights. Hopefully they don't forget about the fundamentals.
Yeah, but what a human experience to be in a position at this stage, this young, and also have the opportunity to win. It's not just about the money. It's about the experience of being able to be at such a big stage so early, Mirko. It's invaluable. Whether you win here or not, you take that with you throughout back to your domestic leagues and then hopefully at AM Series or another MSC.
And it's been so long, I think, too long for us since Myanmar found themselves at the top of the MLBB food chain, right? It was back in M2. You saw that clip earlier, Burmese Ghouls. They were also here in 2024 with with Stitch as well. So, I mean, they've had that experience. And I think those were the two members that I was thinking about that could bring the experience to the rest of the team. Unfortunately, in M7, they fell short again. The meta just did not suit them. And unfortunately, we find ourselves in a very similar meta where, again, they're going to have to face off against GK, where on paper, Young Galacticos are obviously the favorites here, but GK with Xeno in the jungle is a very well-versed jungler at playing those assassins. You know, he's played a couple of times as well. He was part of the Versatile roster just a few seasons ago and just last season. So a lot of experience. Now with, I believe, Aizen in the lineup, it's going to help Xeno try to balance it out. Maybe for a lot of these imports, they would usually have communication issues, but with Aizen in the lineup, especially just them having that connection from the past, it's going to be very, very good for them to maybe pull another upset. Hey, it's been a day full of upsets already. I can't wait for another one.
That's certainly true. The winner of this can play against Selengar Esports, who beat them, and I think that was that Pro? That was Pro Esports, right? Right out the gate to start the day. So Selengar Esports will actually play the loser of this, and that means that there's a lot at stake. Both two teams, they look good. I wouldn't say I'd want to play against any of them, but maybe when you look at it, GK Esports had already faced a really big task in coming here and being the MENA representative. They had to go up against Team Falcons MENA. They won that match. Team Falcons MENA in the other side of the bracket, so we'll follow their journey along. We saw them a little bit yesterday, but we had a chance to talk about the expectations and what they felt going into this tournament. So I believe Eterna sat down with Quanta.
Hey everyone, it's Eterna, and now we are here with Hans, the jungler. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit, but first of all, how are you feeling right now?
Feeling excited because this is our first match.
Excited because it's your first match. Are we detecting a little bit of nerves maybe? Are you a little bit nervous?
No.
No? Okay, full confidence coming in. So excitingly so, we are going into a very new meta. You can see that the assassins are so prominent. What do you think about the assassins in the jungle right now? Do you think Ling and Hirara are the strongest ones?
Yeah, Ling is the stronger one. Yeah.
Who do you think is the strongest?
In the jungle, player.
The hero.
Hero. Ling.
Ling is the strongest.
Ling is the strongest.
So Ling is stronger than Hirara right now. Is there maybe an assassin that you also think is strong?
Can you repeat it?
Do you also think that there's another assassin that might be strong as well, other than Ling and Hirara?
Other than Ling and Hirara is... Nolan, yeah.
Nolan, okay. We don't see Nolan too often. How do you counter these heroes, Hans?
Counter for diving enemy blue burst, I think. Blue burst is the main hero, main target for them, yeah.
Okay, so you need to be aggressive, invade the buff as well. Is there a certain hero that could counter these assassins?
One by one.
Just anything that you think?
For the hero, I mean, Ling and Harley can win here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's some good insight coming in from Hans. And of course, maybe people out there might be a little unfamiliar with Young Galacticos. So could you, share your playstyle a little bit? What is your team like?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Are they aggressive? Are you guys aggressive?
I don't know. Last one in the match. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you guys are all good, right?
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Excited to play your first game.
Yeah. For the first game, we all excited because it's our first MSC.
Okay, first MSC, but they look confident, a little bit shy in the interview. I'm pretty sure it's because of the interview. But do you have maybe a message to your fans back at home?
For the fans, let's watch our match. We will prove our play style and performance. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Thank you for supporting us. Yeah.
Thank you for supporting us. We're all supporting you. So once again, good luck, and we're throwing over back to the panel.
Well, as a day full of surprises continues, that was actually not GK Esports, and that was not Quanok. That was Han from Yangon Galacticos. But what'd you feel about what he had to say?
I think it proves that he's adapted a lot to the meta, right? Again, back in the day, utility jungle, even in Myanmar, in the MSL Super League, it's all about him playing utility. So the fact that he knows all this knowledge on the assassins, I think he's already been practicing a lot of that, which means Blink should have already adapted to the tanky boys.
To honor, however, where our conversation was leading, let's get some thoughts on GK Esports coming into this as well, Rinmar. Obviously, you mentioned representing MENA, but in your take, what is the style that they going up against this squad is going to present? Is it going to be weird? Is it going to be a little different? Is it going to be unique to them? How do you feel they're going to approach handling this meta right now?
I think it's going to be chaotic. I mainly based their performance off of what we saw in the grand finals at MPL MENA.
Yeah.
But considering and then how Falcons MENA, the energy that they brought, being in that huge live crowd for the very first time, the largest crowd that they've had for it was so chaotic, it was hard to read them. Even looking at the Romid trio with Quanok, with Shen, and even with Zeno, there were some moments I was wondering, why are they doing this? But they're making it work because Falcons are playing into it. So maybe if there's something that GK can do here to throw Yangon Galacticos off this game, is that make Yangon play a game that's a little bit undisciplined, because that's what GK wants. They want you to get roped into their tempo, their dance floor, and that might work out well for them.
Is it true to think that Yangon Galacticos starts out as maybe a dark horse in this tournament, and maybe teams from Myanmar have done that in the past, but then always end up kind of turning that narrative around and being contenders?
For some reason, it's always kind of weird for these Burmese teams, because every time you expect them to be a threat, every time you expect them to be the dark horse, they underperform like massively. But when you come into a different tournament and you think, all right, Burmese teams are not going to be too good this tournament, then they make it all the way to the grand finals, a top 4 finish, and they surprise everybody. So I'd say for the Burmese fans, for everybody around the world who want Yangon to do well, let's not expect too much from Yangon Galacticos.
The reverse curse, right?
Yes.
That you don't want to say too much. You agree with that, Rimar?
Yeah, that's why maybe I'm a little bit more calm with what I'm expecting for GK Esports. Yeah, 77% for Yangon Galacticos. So it seems like there are a lot of expectations for them.
Have you not learned? Guys, no, predict Yangon's opponents every time, okay?
But maybe this works. Maybe this works because every prediction has basically gone the other way today.
That's true. This could bode really well for GK Esports, man.
The reverse curse could be happening. Where you started. Wait a second.
This is why my degree is different. I'm more in the liberal arts.
Yeah, exactly. Psychology.
You got a degree?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man.
So you got a degree in what? Casting and
MLBB,
content and streaming,
yapping,
yapping, style.
I got a master's at yapping.
You got plenty of things, Mirko. People trying to get like you, all right? Rinmar, Mirko, thanks for the prelude to this set. It's going to be an amazing series to close out our day. We have got so much action across our 3. I know 4 is going to be a bright spectacle as well. So without further ado, let's get started.
You know what? Today we have had surprises, upsets, and we also had an 8.6k gold lead in 6 minutes into the game. Today is a crazy day, Milosh.
There's a reason why Onyx are called the Sky Kings, and I think they really did prove it despite the best efforts of Entity 7. There's just teething issues, right? Day 1, you're on the big stage. Fair enough. I'm sure they'll bring it back.
I agree, but you know what? Today is so crazy. And of course, to wrap up our day with the last match of day 2, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Yangon Galacticus. They are looking to establish themselves on the international stages once again. Yangon Galacticus is back and ready to show that the Burmese representatives are not here to play. Top 8 finish in M7. There is nothing wrong with aiming higher.
Not too shabby. Let's bring them out. Their opponents on the other side. It's GK Esports. From returning veteran to rookie, their new roster shows so much promise. Building chemistry and stability can only be reliably done on the big stage, I tell you that. Can the pressure shape Mena's long-awaited breakthrough on the MLBB stage?
You know what, Milosh? This will definitely be a match to watch out for everybody out there.
Oh, yes. Equals in some ways, a lot to prove in others. So please, GK, please, our good friends over at Yangon Galacticos, you may go place your keys, take your seats, and make sure, captains, to shake hands for the loop. All good, gentlemen. Please, let's set this one up. There's a bit of shyness in it here, but there's a technique to the handshake, Rose. We'll be seeing a lot of these as we go. And bam!
So nice about it. They're very gentle about it. I love it.
There's our matchup, our final one of today in the group stage. Let's send it back to our panel and get things rolling.
Thank you so much, Milosh and Rose. It's the final series of the day here in day 2 of MLBB MSC at EWC. Into that draft, but it is going to be, for me, a really great end of the day, guys, if we keep being surprised, but we have a competitive set. That's what I want to see as a viewer, as a fan. I think the sets that we got today, even though they surprised us in some ways, when they went the distance, that was what gave us, I think, the best look at learning something long-term. Because when you get down to those teams, especially now that they meet after 2 winners meet, it's going to be a very contested set. And that's where those metas, I guess, core elements are going to be pushed to their limits. So where you might have to go to, sure, you're banning the Harar well. You're prioritizing how you're dealing with the Ling or using it. Well, what's after that? Like, what's the step after that now both teams are doing that? You only get to see that in a high-level contested match, and I feel like this could be the chance. And I know at the end of the day, it will be, especially if you guys have the chance right now to go into shop to grab your new interactive effect that's available to celebrate Happy Rhino Day. So make sure to check it out in shop, and you can continue chatting about this series for more.
Yeah. Well, when we were talking about what comes after that, it seems like based off of the most surprising results, there's 2 names popping up more, Uranus and Barretts. And with having EXP laners that can play high invade, not because they're fast, but because you just can't do much to them early on if you don't have the right damage profile. And even if you get your power spike post first turtle, you still don't have the right damage profile to deal with the Barretts, to deal with the Uranus. It just pulls so much gravity towards where they are in the map that whichever team has one of those picks, seems like they're more free to do things in the other side of the jungle or in the other side of the river, which means that's more resources, and the other team that's getting pressured by those picks, they're not doing much, which is weird now, because when we look at how Zeno and Aizen, how they play together, we want to see them play explosiveness. You don't really get explosiveness with the Uranus and Barretts. It's more of like a slow, creeping realization upon your opponents that they can't do anything against you.
And that's why I think it's all about adapting to exactly that, right? Where you need to be explosive, and right now it does feel like that explosiveness, you need to find it in the jungle. We had a conversation earlier with Han. He knows exactly, you know, what the meta looks like. He's talking about the Lings, the Fannies, the Harleys, the Hiraras as well, and I think it comes down to that. So we're seeing much more of the enablers go into the XP lane as the jungle takes center stage as the carry, and I think that's why a lot of the teams that we saw get torn apart earlier today, they are more of the teams that rely on the XP to carry a lot as well, right? Yeah. That's why when they had that swap, it was just a big curveball. Now, I think for both these junglers, they have the capability to be the main carry for their team and to be the hyper carry, because a lot of times when they lose out in the early game, you'd see the XP lane just completely sacrifice their lane and give it over to the jungle.
Dangerous grass picked up for a map. So that will help give a few more hiding spots here for these players.
Oh, yeah.
As the guns are aimed.
You know, you mentioned guns. I hope we do get to see my Beatrix today. I know it's a crazy wish.
Okay.
It almost came out in the last one, but then the Brody was a better pick. But hopefully one of these two teams would grant me my wish. I mean, I've already seen enough of Kai after MWI, and I don't think we're going to see that anymore this time around. But let's see if it's still going to be in the equation. Speaking of the equation now, the Phobia's first ban means Yangon is either setting up for then the Valentina means they're setting up for either the Atlas or the Freya. So it's going to be up to the choice now of GK. The Arlot first phase ban is a head scratcher though. I understand if your opponent has some strong picks you want to respect, but there are some moments where you gotta put your foot down and admit that might be too respectful of them to ban out the Arlot in the first phase red side.
Esmeralda banned as well. Normally, we've seen Fanny banned out in this first phase.
Yeah.
There's still one more.
I think it just goes to show that these two really want the assassins out. They're just opening everything up. There's Freya, Atlas, Ling, Fanny, Hirara, that they're both not going to run out of picks and trades in the first phase. But GK at least took out the Freya already. That Arlot throwaway ban, maybe it was a throwaway. Maybe it just wasn't just a pure respect. It's Atlas that ends up with Yangon Galacticos. Let's see if Eudora Hirara is going to be the response for GK.
Yep, it is instantly Hirara Eudora. So please, Han, right? I mean, M7, we didn't get to see Han on the Fanny. It was unfortunate because it wasn't the best pick for him back in the day, but he should be ready to redeem himself, right? After that interview as well.
Yeah.
But he may go back onto like the Lings, on the Harleys, right? Just because in the earlier interview that we heard from him, it was those two that he mentioned as a carry or as a counter towards the Hirara. Question is though, do you want to go and try to counter the Hirara with those two picks when the Eudora is sitting right there to help her out?
There's a lot of help for the hero. I think I've been won over by Uranus as a pickup getting shown in the first phase. They get the Fanny.
There's the Fanny.
And you compare it up with the Uranus XP? Nope, they get the roll mid. They get the Gourd right away. I think they were worried that they'll lose mid pickups, but they have so many to choose from.
I'm actually quite a fan of this, right? You have that range advantage against the Eudora, and you already have an Atlas. Usually when you see the Atlas, it's already kind of a risk to take the Eudora. So GK are playing with that idea, and Yangon Galacticos just want to double down on the already good pick that they have against the Eudora with extra damage. So whenever the Eudora gets caught in the Fatal Links, it's insta-dead, insta-delete.
Yeah, so it seems like right now the Atlas and the Gourd together is just going to stop the Roman mid of GK.
Nice pick.
They end up picking up the Moskov with Fanny on the other side. It's better off if they pick it off now instead of it just getting banned away by the Yangon Galacticos. Usually when there's a Fanny on one side, second phase, no marksman for the opposing team, they'll ban out the Fanny. They'll ban out the Moskov.
Moskov grabbed by GK Esports, banner representative. Fanny and Gourd, both been banned a lot and either not picked on the Gourd side, banned mostly on the Fanny side.
Hey!
How do you feel about this 3 so far for both teams? Mirko?
I really like Yangon Galacticos' first 3. It's weird because if you look at the prio list, the Hirara and the Eudora have been, you know, topping that chart. But Yangon Galacticos already have an answer. Again, with the Atlas going up against this Eudora, it's going to be a very vulnerable pick. Plus the Fanny in the mid lane. This Eudora and Hirara combination, if they fall, it's going to get really, really tough. Because now I'm thinking about roamers and can't really come up with a lot of picks.
Yeah. Part of it, too, is that the Hirara is amazing, and we've seen that put to great test today. However, oftentimes it was either an amazing performance in gold or it was a strong XP performance that enabled the Hirara to be that successful. So if you're saying, I don't see a lot of great XP laners against this matchup, maybe Yangon's kind of put GK into a tough spot.
Exactly.
I think this is where we double down and go back to the more damage-dealing EXP laners, the Lapus, the Yujongs of the world. Don't necessarily need to go for some extra sustain because with how squishy the first 3 picks of GK are, you know that anyone that can dive and easily access the backline will tear right through them. Alongside the Atlas, the Fanny's going to swoop in. So theoretically, just getting an EXP laner with strong dive, strong damage, great crowd control, that should be able to sweep up GK's core, and it'll be up to GK to start packing up the stronger front lines to protect their backline.
Is that then also kind of playing into if they end up getting a couple picks on a diving EXP laner and the Gord and the Fanny start to get out of control, does then that whole game plan go to waste? Because then he can't dive and get enough damage on to get the kills, or are you confident that that'll be okay?
Oh, it'll be okay. As long as you get that dive right in, then everyone can sweep up for one another. It just overload the damage, overload the aggro, which is what it seems like the meta
It's not a tempo thing, I guess, is the question. If it doesn't happen early, can it still happen late?
Oh yeah, definitely it can.
Now we're on this pick, Yangon Galacticos. It really seems like with the Alice and the Cho banned out, they really want to set up for those winning lanes again, right? They need the gold and XP to be in a winning matchup for them to enable the Fanny. The Beleric gets picked up. Expected at this point with the Cho and the Atlas taken away. I think we might be seeing a Brody again just to bully the Moskov a bit more and to have that Fanny rotate into that strong side as they may be willing to give Turtle 1 over to GK. Knowing again, Atlas needs level 4 before he's activated. Same goes with Gord.
Yeah.
And this is where we have to ask the question, right? What XP is safe enough to pick up the line? Because it really seems for GK, with the Beleric pick and the Hirara now, they're going all in on strong side XP.
Yeah. And who knows, GK might even end up swapping that Beleric out, but I am leaning more towards the idea, just flop it down in the roam, make it a little bit easier somewhat for your Eudora. You two will struggle, but that's fine. Oh, they still decide to play safe and get the Claude, so at least they have another option for main damage if ever the Gord and the Fanny don't work out, but that plays a little bit more later in the game. And there it is, they pick up the Barats. It's not exactly the Lapu or the Yuzhong, but as we've seen, it can pretty much do the same thing. Not as mobile, but it is still equally annoying, especially since GK, their damage for the Barats comes a little bit later.
So GK now, they're setting up for the winning XP pick. All this time, what is it going to be against this Dairoth with so much physical damage already? I don't think it's good to pick up the Dairoth. I think it's a bit too risky. CC as well, you can shred the barrage, you can win out in lane.
I think of X about it.
Yeah, X-Borg against the Gord though, you know, your frog armor just gonna get melted down.
Yeah, it's too focused on the matchup if you're just thinking up of against the Barats. Oh, whoa.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Hylos.
Oh, is that gonna go EXP or Roam? It has to go EXP, right?
I think it is XP, but you know, we've seen both Beleric and Hylos in XP Roam. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be Hylo.
Let's see the swap. No,
I think it just swapped earlier. So Beleric XP for Aizen.
Okay, so
there you go.
They still do end up committing the possibility of the Beleric going EXP and then Hylos and Roam. Interesting choices. I don't know. I just like the damage a little bit more from Yangon.
Agreed.
So Yangon maybe getting the damage, and we'll see if they can keep the tempo and set up for a win. This one is set to be a good one. So let's get it over to our casters right away to kick off our first game of our final series of the day.
Our fourth series is going to be epic. We see the trap, the team fight position, opting to go for safer options rather than the high risk, high reward in the damage for the EXP. Looking for a series win, and the same can be said about GK. Question is, which side is it really going to come from?
Well, Yangon definitely get a little bit of a power card here. The Fanny finally slips through. GK, on the other hand, picks this bulky front line, the Beleric, the Hylos, and then you do get the Moskov, which can do well against this Fanny. You do have answers to the trump card.
I feel like a lot of the answers is one-on-one, right? I do like the option that Aizen has access to this Beleric just so that he doesn't need to go with the Revitalize, what Shen is currently running right now in his emblem set. Now, he can just into the action and try and catch people off guard rather than play defensively. He has offensive options. With 55 seconds left on the...
Guidelines, but at least making sure that Han's in a good position coming up for this turtle.
Again, it's just a lack of information, and GK don't mind it. They don't know that one of their camps just got stolen here, but really, do they need that camp at this stage of the game? Probably not. Han on the opposite side will have a slight EXP lead, but not enough to create the level lead necessary for the upcoming turtle. We'll see in a little bit, because Yangon Galacticos could just, you know, stretch out that first turtle a little bit longer than they usually do.
Looks like they are going to go for it instead. Han comes in, gets some nice damage on a Shen. Zeno! Deletes him!
Deletes him! We can't pretend that there's too many too many point-and-click stuns here. That should have been expected, but unfortunately wasn't able to get the cable out in time. Oh!
Looking for the stun from Blink here. Gets it. Nice magic gush. Zing able to get the turtle. Aizen goes down as well. Han back on the map. Looking for the re-engage. That's 2 members down, 1 from each side. YG gets the revenge.
What an interesting mechanic there. Haven't seen the Daytona's Walk of work like that, but this should be another kill on towards Shen's side, but it looks like he might be too tanky. Oh, so close. Able to get the regenerate just in time at the very end.
All right, so things have come back to a standstill. It's 1-1. Zeno continues to be aggressive though. Ying does get the stun. Should be able to get away from this. Maybe even able to put some damage out of his own.
That was not going to happen. He's got too many stacks. He's got too many base stats to keep himself very healthy in these fights.
As long as Han's able to react in time and throw out at least one of those cables, stun or not, he's going to get pulled through. Either way, that was not exactly the greatest one. Youngball with a 2K lead on their sides. They're very happy with the way that this is actually starting to progress, but at the same time, DK, they're not completely out of this just yet. They just need to deal with the early aggression, and not to mention that we do finally see first item purchases from Han. So his first item power spike is here.
Another stun on to Shen there. In the mid side, YG want to try to take control here before this turtle comes up. Similar to what we saw last time. Last time, though, Han did catch that quick stun to the face and got taken out. I think this time maybe it's a slightly slower approach. Both junglers going for the purple buffs. GK will be here first.
The C's is going to be really, really important, especially on the squishier targets. Han ideally wants to find his priority, and Blink is going to open up the map first, targeting towards Shen's side, allowing Ying to start fighting for this space. Again, the 2 frontliners for the Simon Yangon, they don't mind dying here. As long as they can maintain the stacks onto Ying, he is going to be one thick boy, but Han ain't wasting time as well. They're making sure that he is still having some kind of camp, something to farm on the map, so he's not just stagnant.
Han has hit level 8 before Zeno, and will continue to farm. YG with no reason to rush this turtle right now. They've got a small lead. They can take their time, create space across the map. And from the top side, Zeno. Oh my lord, Han comes in, able to get the kill. Plays a duet defensively, and now responsibly back to Zeno. Zeno just trying to get away. Han doesn't have any more energy to go for the fight. Zeno looks for the re-engage because he's walking into Blink. May not be able to get away from this one. They're going to try to close in. Zeno still dancing, finally goes down. Han's going to fall as well because Kwanak comes in the nick of time.
Great timing, great timing. The fact is, Zeno understood one thing. Hey, I'm going to be dead no matter what. If I can get a trade, that's honestly not that bad, and they were still able to pull it off. The unfortunate part is the fact that Kwanak always has to flicker to close that distance, and I think this is starting to become a little bit of a problem. Yes, he does have pull yourself together, but at the same time, he's got no defensive tools to protect himself if Hans gets on top of him at this stage of the game. So he's got to be very careful with how he uses the stun.
Second turtle at 6 minutes in, finally going down. YG with a 2.5k gold lead at this point. GK slowly falling behind. I mean, Zeno hasn't really been able to pop off. Yes, we've seen some deaths on Han, but he is making up for it with map control, with taking out members, making sure that Sanji gets a good start up in the gold side. The fact that we've now seen Yaga go down as well, the push on the top side is tremendous with a big magic gush onto Shen. Shen unable to get away, and even though it's the roam, every pick matters right now.
Yep, they're getting so many things for free. Sanji, he's not going to die here. I think now with the Blazing Duet, they're looking for a bigger fight.
Paying for his life. Yaga falls as well. YG just capitalizing on every little mistake from GK right now.
Yeah, like everything just doesn't seem to be going in GK's favor, right? They've tried to figure out ways to kind of edge out just little efficiencies here and there to try and minimize the damage being thrown at them. But now, Zeno getting the Sky Piercer, pretty good. But we need to see a full team wipe out here from the side of Geekay. That's how their composition is so strong. They got to fight as 5.
Geekay, can they bring it together? They are all grouped up in this mid side, so there's your fight as 5. Even if they have to lose a tower, it should be worth it. Monaco getting filled back. Shen drops Glorious Path. Bison's taken out with the magic gush. And YG continue just piece by consistently throughout today. Give us a little bit of a lead and we're going to run away with it. If you're not going to respond, no matter where you go, the paper cuts keep surmounting until it's like you got shit a wide open one as well. This combination, they can see everything on here. I'm not already in for no problem. Constant punishes from YG. Now with the mid tier 3 down to the mid side. Lord rolls as well. YG. I think they can try to pull an inhibitor here at this point, especially if they take this tier 2 in the bottom side. They're able to push a carry in to trip this rolling defense. It's going to be huge for YG on this next push at the beginning. Coming out of the next wave. They weren't able to get rolling defense for this bonus. And all the two esports and down goes another one. Oh my god, they jumped in and both of them. Yeah, huh? Eisen now. Will fight the bullet as well. As Hot Pops cut through, place to wait on the Robbers. Yaga. Zeno. First kiss, no escape. DK Esports. They're getting dragged against the ground right now. Just making the wrong decisions here. Like, they see the opportunity, but they're not making a decision that they're currently in. The lack of awareness is starting to hurt them. On top of the fact that they have just a huge economic lead for the city of Galacticos. Sees them underneath inhibitors. We're going to pump that one bit before, so that Lord is full, ample opportunity, guys. Does flicker back.
YG တော့ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အခုမတင်ကတကယ်ဖားနေနေတူတယ်။ကဲ GG game 1တော့ YG ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ကဲ game 1 YG နိုင်တော့ပြီ။ဒီ comment တွေပါရန်ကုန်ကနဒီကို
choices in a composition that heavily depends on that team fight. You only get 1 or 2 of those. This is the early to mid stages of the game. 1 second. So 1 second off. 1 second off. Man, big hook leading, say 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk in the production about that, but in the meantime, this is that's got to be crushing. That's got to be confident fighting for the side of GK. I'm not sure how they're going to recover from this, but they got to show that they're competitors here. Young Galacticos are not absolutely perfect. There were mistakes, it's just they couldn't capitalize on them. I think once they knew they could keep pushing, I think they just held it, right? Even though they made little mistakes here and there, they knew that they had the better of them in so many of those fights. And the reality is GK also made mistakes. They were a lot larger, right? A lot of re-engages they should have never took them just like that, right there in the mid lane. Jumping in there, knowing that there still is that fatal links out there. Knowing the possibility of what can happen. We saw another one here for Tyson. Oh, comes back in, re-engages. Where are you going, my guy? Where's the Glorious?
Bloody go, Bazan.
To let Roberts disrespect him like that and get on top of Sanji. We're going to be throwing it back on over to our studio. Break it down for this. This was a brutal one.
ကောင်းပါလေ YG အင်ဂျာတော်ရေးလောက်လာတယ်သူတို့
argument for why it should be them early on. Sub 10-minute win, almost the perfect 10-minute win against GK Esports. It was a
dominant performance, to say the least, Mirko and Rimar. As we come back on this, my name is Rainday. I'm your host, and that was a quick one. I mean, I just introduced myself 2 seconds ago because of how fast this game went. But again, it felt like this was a little bit more of what we saw earlier on in the beginning of the series today, because it was just too good from YG across the board. It was fantastic by YG, but also it was really bad, honestly, for GK as well. I mean, only for the drafts we had our questions, gave them the benefit of the doubt because we've seen crazy, a lot of wacky stuff today that worked out. Rafael Ahmed again, rest of midnight, Paratihanda. But again, the high-lows pick and the flex of the Bellery that was very unnecessary. Again, it's kind of like Eudora into the Atlas. The high-lows now into the Atlas. They're just trying. It almost seems like they're trying to feed as many bodies to the Atlas, especially with the board already there. It's kind of like Kaiser's. Oh, okay, I'm getting Sky Piercer early. Yeah, I think that was the keyword there for even a lot of the actions that GK committed within the game itself. Unnecessary. Timing's unnecessary. Aggression.
ကောင်းတယ်တော်တော်လေးကောင်းကြတယ် YG ဆော့တော်တော်လေးကောင်းတယ်သူကအောက်မနီဆော့ပါကွာအောက်မနီဟီးဝေးနဲ့ဆော့ပါသူကအနည်းတော့ကောင်းတယ်သူက game micro ဆော့တာပုံမှန်သူကဒီမှာသူက aura နဲ့ထိန်းထားပေမဲ့သူကနည်းနည်းတော့အလုပ်ဖြစ်အောင်တော့ဆော့နိုင်တယ်ဟိုဘက်ကကျတော့အာနီမာအကောင်းတူးကြီးမှပုံစံအဲ့လိုပုံစံမျိုးဆော့ချင်တာဟိုဘက်ကဟိုက AOE flow ဆော့ချင်တာသူကဟိုဘက်က AOE flow ဆော့ချင်တာအဲ့ YG ဘက်က micro လို့ဆော့လိုက်တာအဲ့မှာနည်းနည်းကွဲသွားချင်တော့ဟိုဘက်က pressure ပြီးသွားပေါ့အဲ့ AOE ကျတော့နည်းနည်းသူကဘယ်လိုပြောမလဲသူကတင်းပတ်တယ်လောက်ပဲကောင်းတာAOE ဆော့လာကြတော့တင်းပတ်တယ်နည်းနည်းကွဲသွားရင်တော့တိတ်မှအဆင်မပြေတော့ဆော့ရတဲ့ပုံစံကဲ game 2တော့ကြည့်အောင်ဒါပေမဲ့ဒီပိုင်းနိုင် SRG နဲ့တွေ့မယ်ထင်တယ် SRG နဲ့တွေ့တော့တယ်
Stop, free kill, and on top of the free kill was kind of like a buy one get one because Sino was trying his best to kind of like recover for the team by rotating top and trying to get a kill. Yeah, unfortunately, it could also just summon down to it seems like Yaku's got that he had coming in from Soccer Esports and then now being able to play here for Yaku's Galacticos. Really, you saw the difference in experience and comfort playing around the gold lane. Where I know Yaga has it in him, but Sanji just looked so much better in game number 1. Talk about Han too. I mean, the Fanny has been banned most of the time, and you let it go. Han is known for that, and all of a sudden it's like, well, that's why it should have been banned. 7-2 on that game, but also pressure, comfort. There's so many reasons why you may want to mix it up. What do you take as GK letting it through, and also just like this draft, how it's set up so well for an early start for YG? For me, it's like, I guess we see early on why they actually let it go, right? Because they got the Eudora and the Urara combination, and it did pretty well at locking out the Fanny, but just as Redmar said, as the caster said, there was no capitalization, there was no conversion on top of that because of these losing lanes. The Barrage doing a very good job of executing to hold around that first neutral objective and stop that conversion, and also the winning lane up top. So I see why they let the Fanny go. Understand? Yeah, it didn't work out. Yeah, and they even have the high loss with it, which over in the long run though, the high loss realized, oh, I can't do much against this Atlas and Gord. I keep getting poked from afar. All this crowd control is forcing out my Revitalize way too early. Just when I want to use it, oh man, I'm already using it. That might be, is that a learning lesson? Possibly. We'll find out because that was picked obviously with the Atlas exposed as the first pick, so that was a final thing for GK Esports. Coming into this conversation around what we can do heading into this matchup, I think it was going to be a tough game. Yangon Galacticos Esports were certainly ahead in terms of your pick. Well, let's see what they had to say coming into it because we had a chance with the Turner to talk with GK Esports. Come on up before the game.
We're not here with the mid laner of course, GK Esports. Welcome, Kwana.
Thank you, welcome.
How has Paris been treating you?
It's actually like awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Paris so far?
I think buildings. I like the buildings here.
လက်ရကွာတကယ်ကွာတယ်ဘလို့ဟုတ်တယ်
Paris? Okay, but it's not
ဟုတ်တယ်တကယ်လက်ရည်ကွာမတော့အခုမှ MSC ကိုစတင်ပြိုင်တဲ့အသင်းတော့ကျွန်တော်ထင်တယ်တခါမှမတွေ့ဘူးအဲ့အသင်းကိုနော်အခု MSC ကလည်းအသင်းတွေအများကြီးထပ်ခေါ်တာဆိုတော့အားကြောင့်မို့ဖြစ်တတ်ပါတယ်
Congratulations, by the way. So, how would you describe your new play style with your new teammates?
Actually, our play style is like more aggressive, and we always prefer to team fight.
Okay, so aggressive, team fight heavy.
Yeah.
We've been seeing that a lot, coming into MSC, and I was wondering about what's going on with the mid laner right now. I think we saw Rafaela earlier on. Eudora has been very popular, and Vixana. So first off, what do you think about the Eudora pick that's been so popular?
About Eudora, I think like an S plus tier now, it's pick or ban, It's so good against tanky junglers, it's so good against like assassin junglers. It has like continuous damage and burst damage. It can protect. It doesn't need like much protect. So I think it's a great pick now.
Amazing pick for Eudora. What about the Vixana?
Vixana is like more like situational. You can pick Vixana every game. You don't need to pick it for disengage or like counter team fight. You can pick I mean, it's not like flexible as much as Eudora.
Okay, so we can expect more Eudora, but maybe less from Vixana.
Yeah, of course.
What's your specialty?
My specialty?
Yeah.
Louis, but actually not now.
Do you think we can see your Louis today?
What's the scenario?
Okay, because you're up against Young and Galacticos, and they're also known to be very aggressive. Is there any special preparation that you have up against them?
I think it's
ဟုတ်တယ် bro ဟုတ်မယ်ထင်တာမဟုတ်ဟုတ်ကိုဟုတ်တာဒီသင်း bro ဟိုနောက်နေ့ MSC တော့မမြင်ဘူးနော်ကျွန်တော်လည်းမမြင်ဘူးအခုအတင်းတွေအများကြီးထွက်လာတယ်လေအိန္ဒိယတို့ထွက်လာအိန္ဒိယလည်းပါလာတယ်လေဟုတ်တယ်အတင်းငယ်တက်လာထက်ကိုနိုင်ငံတော်တော်များ mobile legend ကိုဟောတော့ထည့်ထွင်လာတာပေါ့အဲ့လိုဟုတ် community ကျေပြန့်လာနေမြန်မာ e-sport တော့ကပြောက်ဖို့လားလာများနေ
deserve graphic for the future broadcast. Something like his win-loss record.
Yeah, she'd be in grand finals basically.
For sure.
Yeah, if that was the case.
Just remember, the worse you are at social interactions,
she's a god at mobile legends. Oh, games. No. We can't get on her like that. This was though a very fun kind of start for obviously if you're on the side of our winning team. But when it comes to GK and Quantic talking about just the meta, you can see that he has a very not simple, but like kind of common understanding, which everyone coming into this is. The Eudora is valuable. Playing around that though was not enough. And so that leads to the question, guys, what do you do at this point when the stuff that's clearly valuable, that's commonly known to work, isn't quite working?
You really have to look back at what you're doing within the game itself. Like, how come you're failing with these picks that you yourself think of as an S+? Your timing, when you're throwing out your abilities, whether it's the laning phase, when the high loss popped up. Okay, maybe you're not going to talk at the high loss too much, but that's how you do it.
I will. It's a big talking point, I know it is.
You're talking about direction, you're talking about aggressiveness. Yes, theoretically, high loss is one of those heroes that could work out for constant potential invades, but then now you pick up the high loss with the Eudora because you see the fan, it becomes more of a defensive, like you don't really get to play their game. And I think that was, something that GK also got to feel in the previous game is that they didn't get to play their style. They were reacting a lot, and remember, there's a pick that they shouldn't let through. Maybe you let the Ardon through, and then you ban the Fanny, because they said they wanted to ban some of the best picks for Young Galacticos. I know we agreed that it looks like they had the idea to go up against the Fanny, but clearly it's not just about the picks anymore. The Fanny for Han is really good. Maybe it's one of those picks that you just have to ban straight up.
This is one of those conversations that feels like it happens in 30 seconds because you need so much time to consider what exactly went wrong. There's so many ways to point the finger. Immediately, you see the Atlas band, you see the Fanny band. This is what we're used to. It was strange in game one that didn't happen.
but we also see Freya Band as well. I mean, this is much more, I think, Mirko, close to what you would like to see from GK. I think this is a standard approach to drafts, especially, in the current meta. You can have Fanny Man on Atlas as well. Now it opens up that Eudora. We did from bottom to first pick or ban. I think that should be the choice as well for GK. A lot of the other chances open Hirara lane, so I was hoping of Eudora first, and Django and Galacticos aside, what other assassin do you want to go for? Now, the question is, will Mobius almost try to be banned out, or will YG try to punish GK with that Mobius? There you go, folks. They take out the Bellerin instead. So it's a wealth of options here for GK and Django and Galacticos. Based on the maps that we've seen so far into priorities, he might have to get the point the trades first. Blue one, red one, two created.
Game 2ကစတင်ဖြစ်ပါတယ် Game 2ကိုသူကအရင်ထွက်ပဲပြန်ပြစ်မယ်ထင်တယ်ဟိုက Funny ကောက်ပန်းလိုက် Funny ပန်းနဲ့အားလောပန်းနဲ့အတနပန်းနဲ့ကောင်းပါတယ်ကဲ Funny ဟိုကဟိုင်ဘာရင်ထုတ်ပေးရဟိုင်ဘာရင်ပြထင်တယ်အဲ့ကောင်ဟိုင်ဘာလည်းဖြစ်သွားရင်လို့ EAB လည်းဖြစ်သွားရင်လည်းလင်းဟဲ့အောင်ရေးစကန်ဘေးကိုလင်းကောက်ပေးလိုက်တယ်ဟဲ့အောင်ရေးဟန်ကတော့ဒိန်းကြားတွေတော့ဖြစ်ကုန်တော့မှာပဲစကန်ဘေးကိုလင်းကောက်ထုတ်လိုက်ဟမ်ကဲYG အတွက်ပဲတဲ့ဟုတ်တယ် bro ဒီပွဲကတော့ YG အတွက်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒါ YG ကလည်းတော့အုပ်စုချက်တယ်ဦးနေတို့နဲ့ပါတယ်ဦးနေနဲ့ပါတယ်တင်းနဲ့ကွနဲ့ပါတယ်အုပ်စုနဲ့ချက်တယ်အစမာရတာဟိုက off နဲ့အစမာရတာသွားမယ်ပကွီတိုဒါဘလူးတွားနေဆိုတော့အောက်ပြည်ကလည်းတို့ပုံစံမျိုးသွားမလဲဆိုတော့ကြည့်ရမှာပဲပကွီတိုဟိုင်ဘာနဲ့ဖြစ်သွားနိုင်တယ်အစမာရာမစ်လိန်နဲ့ဖြစ်သွားနိုင်တယ်看ဘာဟီယိုပစ်မှာလဲရိုဗီရောက်ရေးရိုဗီနဲ့ထိမ့်မှာအားတော့နာတယ်သူစီးတယ်โอเคရိုဗီ off နဲ့ရိုဗီထွက်သွားပြီโอเคဟိုဘက်တင်ရတော့ဟိုဘက်တော့ Massman နဲ့မိနေပဲလို့ပြောမှာကိုနေနဲ့မိနေပဲတော့မိဟိုဘက်ကမိလို့ဆိုတော့ YG ဘက်ကမိကိုတဲပန်းလာမိတွေကိုတဲပန်းမှုများမိနဲ့ Massman ကိုတဲပန်းမယ်လို့ထင်တယ် Massman ဟိုကတော့ပန်းမှာ Massman သူတို့ကလောက်တော့ပန်းလာမှာလောက်ပန်းတော့တယ်လိုက်တယ်ဦးနေတော့ကြောက်ဦးနေထက်ကြောက်လာကျွန်တော်ထင်တော့ဟိုတင်းလေးကိုကြောက်အောင်ပါတင်းလေးကိုလည်းကြောက်အောင်ပါတင်းလေးကိုကြောက်အောင်မယ်ဦးနေကိုကြောက်အောင်မယ်အစာကြီးကိုနိုင်ခဲ့ရင်ပေါ့အစာကြီးကိုနိုင်ခဲ့ဦးနေကဒီနေ့စော့သွားတဲ့ပုံစံရဆိုတော့ तू ကကောင်းတော့ကောင်းတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ तू ကသူတို့ပြန်တိုက်နိုင်တဲ့အတင်းဆိုရင်တော့နည်းနည်းဘဲနဲ့မျှမယ်လို့ထင်တယ်ဒီနေ့အတင်းကဒီနေ့ဦးနေနဲ့စော့တဲ့အတင်းကကျတော့နည်းနည်းသူလည်းအတင်းသစ်ထင်တယ်ကျွန်တော်ထင်တော့အတင်းသစ်ထင်တယ်သူတို့စော့တဲ့ပုံစံရကြည့်မယ်ဆိုရင်အတင်းသစ်ထင်တယ် Valentina ကောက်ပန်တော့ဟုတ်တယ်ဟိုဘက်ကမိတ်နေလူနေအောင်တည်တယ် YG ဘက်က Valentina ကောက်ပန်တော့ YG ကကျွန်တော်ထင်တော့ YG က drag ကိုရှို့ထားအောင်မှာဘာလို့လဲဆိုတော့သူ drag အကုန်ထုတ်မယ်တော့မထင်ဘူး drag ရှို့ပြီးမှစော့မယ်လို့ထင်တယ်ကျွန်တော်ထင်တော့ ကဲကလေးနဲ့ချောင်းဘရင်းရဲ့ချောင်းတွေ့အောင်ဘရင်းရဲ့ချောင်းပြန်တွေ့အောင်ပေါ့ဟိုကဂျောဟန်နဲ့စနီလာကျွန်တော်ဂိုးလေးကပါကွီတိုသွားမယ်ထင်တာဆိုကျွန်တော်ဂိုးလေးကိုပါကွီတိုသွားမယ်နဲ့YG ကသူက drag ကိုရှို့မှာလို့ကျွန်တော်ပြောရမလား YG က drag တွေကိုအကုန်မထုတ်ဘူးသူကတော့ serious နေဖြစ်တဲ့ drag တွေမထုတ်ဘူးသူကသူ drag တွေကိုကြည့်နိုင်သိရကဲဟန်ရနေကအလုပ်ဖြစ်သွားမလားဆိုတော့ကြည့်ရမှာပဲတည်မလားအာဂျူကဖားစင်းတော့မဖြစ်ရင်ရ
kind of speed up. Wow, they're getting an ultra.
ဟုတ်တယ် bro Iza ကအတက် Iza အတက်ဟုတ်တယ် Iza အတက်အတင်းတော်များပါလာ Iza နဲ့အတက်ဟုတ်တယ်အဲအိန္ဒိယအတင်းတင်းရှိရမနေ့က sorry အိန္ဒိယအတင်းတင်းနဲ့အတက်အဲ့ဟိုဟာအုပ်စုအိမ်မှာနဲ့အတင်းတွေပါတယ်အုပ်စုဘီမှာနဲ့အတင်းတွေပါတယ်
Sort of done for unless they put some damage on the Sanji. But in the meantime, I like the fact that DK, they don't want to slow down, they're just going to wait for that information and really work with the mid trio to get things moving across the map.
And they take some really interesting pathing. I almost kind of worry about this Zeno. With such a lead that they had, getting that purple buff immediately, they could have used that to have him just start in his own jungle, but they go for the litho, they go into the mid, hope that there's a possible mess up, and now that quick pace that they wanted to set kind of just evens out in a sense.
And they don't mind that, right?
ဟုတ်တယ်ကိုနေကပါကွေလို့ဖြစ်သွားတယ် အတင်းတွေကြတော့သူက screen shot နေသူတို့ကလုံးဝဟိုလိုမဖြစ်သေးဘူးတည်းမလားဂိမ်းနဲ့ဟိုလိုပြိုင်ပွဲနဲ့အသားမကျသေးဘူးသူတို့အသားကျဆိုရင်သူတို့ဘက်က ambient လို့ဘာလို့မှပဲသားကျအောင်ဒါပေမဲ့အဲ့လို mission နဲ့ပွဲတွေတော့ပဲကြာရင်မတည်းမလားဟို walk တွေပါအဲ့လိုကြတော့အဆင်မပြေဘူးသူတို့ဆော့ရတဲ့ပုံစံ brand တသားလောက်ပဲရှိမှာပေါ့ကဲ Ruby နဲ့ Asmarata ဘယ်ကတော့ vision တွေပဲပေါ်ပြနေရယ် Asmarata level ကဲ hand reaction တွေချက်ကြည့်ရမယ် Refab ကို Aura ရပါပြီ nice bro ကောင်းလိုက်တာဗျာကောင်းလိုက်တဲ့တင်းပေါ့ကြော်ပြောရမလားအဲ့သူကနောက်ရက်တွေတော့ပွဲကောင်းနေနောက်ရက်တွေပွဲကောင်းနေတော့ရှိနေတာဆိုတော့ရှိမှာပါညီမပွဲမဟုတ်ရင်ကျွန်တော်တိတ်မှာပွဲတိတ်မချိဖြစ်တော့ဘူးခုနောက်ပိုင်းရဖိုင်ရခါတော့ပဲချိဖြစ်တာဟိုအစမာရာမမားတော့ပြုတ်နေပြီအစမာရာပြုတ်နေပြီဟိုတော့တားဟိုဖြစ်လာနေပြုတ်နေပြီ ကျွန်တော် run တသားတော့ပဲရှိမှာလို့ကျွန်တော်ပြော run တသားတော့ပဲဟိုက safe play ဆောင်းมาရမှာ safe play ဆောင်းမယ်ဆိုအာနီမဆိုရင်သူတို့ကဒါမိတ်ပေးနိုင်တဲ့ကောင်ကကျွန်တော်ရှိမယ်ဆိုရင်ပါကွီလိုရှိမယ် enemy hyper ရှိဟိုဘက်က hyper ရှိမယ်စနီနာကတော့ဒါမိတ်တော့ထိမပေးနိုင်တော့ဘူးအဲနှစ်ကောင်တော့ပဲရှိမှာဒါမိတ်ပေးနိုင်တာဆိုတော့အားကြောင့်ဟိုကလက်ကင်းဆွဲလို့လည်းမရဘူးသူကအာနီမှာဖြတ်မှရမှာလက်ကင်းဆွဲပြီဆိုရင်good job ဟုတ်ပါတယ်အာနီမှာဖြတ်မှရမှာ GK ဘက်ကလေလက်ကင်းမှာဆွဲမယ်ဆိုရင် YG ဘက်က maximum ပါတယ်ဟိုပါတယ်လင်းပါတယ်လင်းကလည်းနည်းနည်းတိထားသူကကျတော့လိန် control တွေမှာနည်းနည်းတိထားမှာလင်းတမ play strike shot ဟိုတော့ထိုးနေရတယ်လေပေါ်ပလိုက်တာကောင်းပါတယ်ဆေးစောလာကောင်းတယ်နိုင်မှာတိဆိုရင်ဆေးစောလာကောင်းတယ်အမားတစ်ချက်ဆိုရင်ပြန်ပေးရမှာမခွေတော့တော့ချက်တွေနဲ့flag တော့ချက်ကိုကတော့ never run အောင်ရိုးပဲတယ် bro share special run နေရှိတော့ special run နေတော့ကျွန်တော်လည်းမသိဘူးတော်တော့ screen shot တော့ပဲရှိမှာလေသူ screen shot မှာတို့ ambient ရှိမှထင်တယ်ကျွန်တော်ထင်တော့ ambient ဆော့မယ် ambient ဆော့မှာပေါ့ambient ရှိလို့တက်လာတဲ့အသင်းတွေဖြစ်မှာကျွန်တော်ထင်တော့ဘဝတည်းစီးဆုံးမရမှာအဲ့လိုဘုံနိုင်တော့ကျဲလို့မရဘူးအဲ့ဘုံနိုင်တော့ကျဲလို့သူက free သွားပြီဆိုရင်အဲ့ဒါပြန်ထောင်မှုတော့မဖြစ်နိုင်သူကဘာလို့ဘုံကအမာတွေပဲထုတ်ထားဆိုတော့သူတို့ပုံစံနဲ့ဝုံနိုင်ကျဲမှာအဲ့ဟီယိုနဲ့လိုက်တာသူတို့အခုလိုဟီယိုပြစ်မယ်ဆိုရင်သူတို့မှာဒီမှာ damage ဒီနာကောင်းကြီးပေးနိုင်တဲ့ကောင်ပါရင်တော့သူတို့အခု track ကကျတော့လက်ကင်းဆွဲမှအဲ့ damage ဒီနာပေးနိုင်တဲ့ကောင်အမာပြည့်မလား supporting များပေးနိုင်တော့နိုင်ကြီးရှိရအခုဒီမှာအချိန်ကြာနဲ့မြလက်ကင်းရောက်ရင်သူတို့မာပဲမာလိုက်မှာ damage ကအလောက်ထိမရှိနိုင်တော့သူတို့ဟိုကကျတော့ damage ဒီနာတော်များထုတ်တာမဲတော့ထုတ်တာအရင်ကောင်းတယ်မဲတော့ရှေ့ကောင်းနေလားလက်ကတော့နည်းနည်းသိထားမှာပဲတွက်ကကျွန်တော်ထင်တော့လုံးဝဒီမှာ seriously drum ဟုတ်ပါဒီမှာတို့က rust တတာ drum တော့ပဲထုတ်ထားသူကအဲ့လိုတွက်ပဲဒီမှာ lane တူတာကိုတာအဲ့လိုတွက်ပဲထုတ်တာအဲ့လိုကြီး seriously ထုတ်တာမရှိဘူးကြည့်ရပြီ run ဆော့တယ်လို့ပဲသူတို့ run ဆော့တယ်လို့ပဲ run string လွင့်တယ်လို့ပဲကြည့်လို့စော့နေရဟိုလိုကြီးကန်ကင်းနေပါညာအဲ့လိုလည်းမရှိဘူးဟိုကတော့9ယောက်လုံးစုမှာပေါ့နေတော့ဟိုကတာတဲ့ပဲဆိုင်နေတာတာတဲ့ကတော့ 1G တော့ဟဲ့1G မဟုတ်ရောက်ရေးဟာ ready မပေါက်ဘူးတဲ့ရောက်ရေးအဲ့လိုကြီးဟာ ready မပေါက်ဘူးပြီးတယ်ရောက်ရေးတကယ်ပြီးတယ်တကယ်ပြီးမှကျုံးသွားတယ်GK ကတာတဲ့ရသွားတာတဲ့ YG နည်းနည်းပေါ့ဆနေတော့ကျွန်တော်မြင်တာ YG နည်းနည်းပေါ့ဆနေတော့မြင်တယ်MSC က YG ပွဲနောက်ဆုံးမယ်နော် YG ပွဲပြီးရင်တော့ဟုတ်တယ် MSC ဒီနေ့တော့ကပြီးပြီ ကျွန်တော်ပြောမလားလင်းကိုထိမ့်မရမယ်လို့သူတို့ကအမာနဲ့ဆော့လာဆိုတော့သူတို့ကစုပြီးမှချမှာဝါကြီးဘက်ကအဲ့တော့လင်းကိုထိုးကောင်းကောင်းလုပ်နိုင်ရင်ဝါကြီးဘက်ကတာတယ်မလို့ပြောတာမှာဟုတ်တယ် bro ပုံစံချင်းနေတယ် bro အဲ့လိုလိန်ကန်ကင်းနေပါရဲ့အဲ့လိုမရှိဘူး run ကစားနေရပဲအဲ့လိုလိုပဲကျွန်တော်ကထင်တယ်ပုံစံချင်းနေ bro run တက်တာပဲရှိရကဲတော့ပေါ်လိုက်ဖြစ်ပါတယ်သူကဝိုင်းကြီးကဒီလိုထင်တယ်ကျွန်တော်ထင်ပြောမှဆိုရင်သူကဒီပွဲမှာသူက drag တွေကိုရှူထားဘာလို့လဲဆိုတော့သူက SRG နဲ့တွင်းရင် SRG ကအခုပွဲ drag တွေကိုသူကနေကြီးမှာသူကအင်စာလုံလာမှာအဲ့ဒါကိုဝိုင်းကြီးကမလိုလားဘူးအဲ့ဒါကြောင့်မလို့သူက drag တွေကိုရှူလိုက်တာပဲတင်မလား run တက်တာကစားလိုက်တာ drag တွေကိုရှူပြီးမှခံမလို့သူတို့အဲ့လိုထင်လိုက်တာဖြစ်မှာပေါ့dress shoe ကလည်းကောင်းပါလေအဲနိုင်ရဲ့အတွင်း dress shoe ကလည်းကောင်းပါလေဒါပေမဲ့အရင်ပေါ်စားလို့မရခဏဟန်လုပ်ထားတဲ့ကွက်ဆိုမကောင်းဘာလို့ဆိုရင်တာတယ်မှာဟုတ်တယ်တာတယ်မှာရတဲ့အောင်မရဘူးအားရဆိုးတယ်ဗျာပြော ဟုတ်တယ်ဝမ်ကြီးကဒီတိုင်းပဲတာမန်ဟီးရိုးပဲလုံးဝဟွာပဲတော့အင်ဂျင်တာမြောက်တယ်မရဘူးတိုးမြောက်လုံးဝတိုးမြောက်Oh my god ဝမ်ကြီးโอเคပါဦးနဲ့ဝမ်ကြီးကလုံးဝဝိုးဝါမဖြစ်တယ်ဘူးဒါနိုင်မယ်ဆိုတာတိနေဝိုးဝါမဖြစ်တယ်ဘူးပေါ်ဆိုင်ရင်ဟိုဘကထပ်တက်လာမှုအလားလာရှိရတော်တော်မျိုးဖုန်းဆက်လာမှာဝင်ထားပြီးသူကဘာလို့ရလဲဖုန်းမေးပါလေ
somebody to beat the smells. The only problem is I don't think that the Young Galacticos, when the Unstoppable Force comes out of Shen, they're just gonna wait until it's on if we get the kill. He's looking for the next target. Oh, beautiful flicker! Calling the dash! Hurry up, Bianca to the backside. He flickers through, he wants on, he's able to get put off. Sanji goes down as well. Bianca's picking him up. Kai's finally gets the shutdown. It's a full team. Pretty good idea, but they could not collapse at the exact same time. There's just too many delays with the help of the Ying. Covering so much space. He's that 60, this Ruby back has absolutely demolished their top as they start knocking on the front door. What are you gonna do about this? You need 6 seconds. I don't think there's much DK can do. With the minions crashing through, YG does decide to back off. They're not gonna force it. But the jungle's gone. There's no bust for the side of KK and Lord. Going for 9. ground stuff. So I wouldn't put it past them to try to take this fight. Obviously, they should do it again, right? So what's this fight underneath final word? They need to get on the ones who have to walk on over. And if Young don't do this fast, that top wave is going to build up towards the decision for them. She touches through. Big kick on Quinok. Quinok goes down. Attempts to blades falls onto Eisen as on the top side. Yaga gets pulled back in with the arm offended. Kais gets the kill. The rest of DK running for the kill. And now they're going for the Yangi. They don't even need floors at this point. They know what they need to do. Saki is just too strong. He can single-handedly do the siege. It's 4v5 right now, or 3v5 right now. Eisen goes down. YG gonna move on to Shen here. Last minion drops. They do have to back off. They're unable to connect to the base. I don't know how long they can do this one because it's come to a point where we're getting to the 42k mark. Once we get to the 42k mark, we're expecting that Xeno alongside, in this case, Yaga would have hit their core items. I know for a fact that Yaga has his items, Xeno at the same time, but the rest of them, they just don't have enough stats, especially for Eisen. Literally 2 items. Oh, in the end, right? Eisen, I think the big problem for DK. Where's the major damage? You have to play with Quinok, never put them online, and towards the game, the swing is able to get the value you would get out of it in the early to mid. At this point, without a marksman, without any kind of, where does DK go with that? Has literally blocked them at every single angle. Like Yaga wants to close the distance, but he can't because he's melee. So at this stage, it really is just whether or not he can get pulled out of position. Zeno back in, Zeno goes down. Eisen got hit by the Thames of Blades, is on, dashes on the tower, gets killed. Lord connects on his face, a big kick onto Yaga. And that should be it. YG with one last empowered wave. They want to make things quick. YG take game number 2 and win the series. Oh, the outclass here. The Young Galacticos take the game 2 and they had an incredible answer to the draft so far. And honestly, I think that was the problem. Those first 3 picks was just too honest and no punishing ban on this Ruby. There were just too many problems to think of and they fell for it. I think this is one of those, go back to the pre-preparation room, really look at the priority list for your heroes for the types of compositions you want to develop. Very well done by White. What's necessary to start the ball? This wasn't just a loss. This was a bad loss. Yeah, it's definitely gonna hurt the confidence for sure. Luckily, we know that our competitors here at MSC have the strongest builds possible. It really just comes down to realigning what the research tells you, preparing for so many of these games. But that's the true nature of competition. With competition, of course, there must be victors. Who we have up on stage for the interview.
You know it is, of course, our victors from the Galacticos and it's Blake joining. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. Question first, Blake. Now, you're one of the most experienced roamers in Myanmar, specifically, but it's your first time playing at MSC. How has that experience been so far for you here at MSC?
We're going to prepare for the next match, and this is the first time for me, but we're going to go forward.
Of course, you're playing at M7 most recently, huge internationally, but I want to talk to you when it comes to metagame, because Barats and Rugby, we've been seeing them more and more here. Do you think that the meta is developing?
ကောင်းလိုက်တဲ့ YG လေးပါ GG easy ဝယ် မြန်မာလိုပြောနေဖြစ်ပါတယ်
Stage that puts that on you, or is it the whole team's kind of working together throughout it for a victory?
Not only for this match and all the matches that we have experienced in the past, I was so much responsibility for this. So we're trying our best. And you absolutely will do because not just in this match, but in our upcoming game. I mean, you guys are playing against Pro Esports. Did you expect them in the upper side of the bracket, or was it more SRG that you were waiting for? I mean, the Lamet, the Pro Esports, not the SRG, but
Vaya, ain't that no low man. Bro, as I didn't do him as well. Do you no, man.
Esports. Thank you very much, Blink, for joining us on the interview for you and the entire team. Congratulations to Young Galacticos.
Yeah, glad to go. Okay, GG မြန်မာပါကဲမြန်မာအစချင်းနဲ့okay bro ကျွန်တော် live stream နားတော့မယ်ကျွန်တော်ပွဲဒီကူကလာပြပေးရပါကျွန်တော်ပွဲတော့မကတ်စတက်ကိုနောက်မှဆက်တွေ့မယ် bye bye မဖက်ဆက်တွေ့ကြမယ်မနော် game မှာ stream မယ်နော် bye bye